This is absolutely explosive, and if you're not furious about what Roman Reigns just revealed in his most unfiltered and most controversial interview ever, then you clearly missed the fallen tribal chief exposing backstage politics, corporate manipulation, and booking decisions that prove WWE has been sabotaging him for months leading up to his crown jewel loss. If you think this is just Roman making excuses, you're completely wrong, because what I'm about to share includes specific names, specific incidents, and documented evidence that Roman provided showing how certain WWE executives and fellow wrestlers conspired to end his historic reign, and the implications of these revelations could destroy careers and change WWE's power structure forever. Comment right now if you think Roman Reigns is telling the truth about WWE's backstage conspiracy against him, because the secrets he exposed in this interview have sent shockwaves through the entire company and have management in panic mode trying to control the narrative. This isn't just a wrestler being upset about losing, this is Roman potentially burning down the entire system, exposing corruption and favoritism at the highest levels, and threatening to reveal even more secrets if WWE tries to bury him after everything he sacrificed for the company. The tribal chief just declared war on WWE itself. Let me break down exactly what Roman said, because every single revelation was calculated to cause maximum damage and force WWE into impossible positions. The interview happened just 48 hours after Roman's shocking crown jewel loss, and instead of the usual controlled, corporate-approved media appearance, Roman went rogue and did an unsanctioned interview with an independent wrestling podcast where he could speak freely without WWE handlers controlling the message. Roman started by addressing his loss directly, but not in the way anyone expected. "Everyone's talking about how I lost at Crown Jewel, acting like it was some shocking upset or the result of my own failures. But what nobody's talking about, what WWE doesn't want anyone talking about, is how this loss was orchestrated. How creative decisions made months ago were specifically designed to weaken me, to create circumstances where my loss became inevitable." The accusation that WWE deliberately set him up to lose sent immediate shockwaves through the wrestling world. Roman continued, "Let me give you specifics. 3 months before Crown Jewel, I pitched storylines that would have strengthened my character and given me compelling feuds going into the biggest show of the year. Every single pitch was rejected. Instead, I was given opponents who didn't build to anything, matches with no stakes, segments that made me look weak rather than dominant." Here's a trivia question for the hardcore fans: how many days did Roman Reigns' record-breaking Universal/Undisputed Championship reign last? Drop your count below. Roman then named names, which is where things got really explosive. "Triple H has never liked me as champion. He tolerates me because of my family name and because I draw money, but he's been wanting to put the title on one of his guys since the day he took over creative. Paul Levesque would rather push an NXT call-up that he discovered than support the guy who's been carrying this company for years." The direct call-out of Triple H was shocking and potentially career-ending for Roman if he can't back up these claims. But Roman wasn't done, and it's not just management. There are wrestlers in that locker room, people I won't name yet but who know who they are, who have been actively working against me backstage. Spreading rumors, politicking with management, trying to turn people against me. All because they're jealous of my position and want what I have. Drop a comment: do you think Roman Reigns is telling the truth about WWE's conspiracy against him, or is this just a bitter champion unable to accept defeat? Let me know your honest take. Roman then provided what he claimed was evidence of WWE's manipulation. "I have text messages from producers telling me that creative was specifically designed to humble me because I was too protected and needed to be brought down a peg. I have emails showing that certain people in management were advocating for my title reign to end at Crown Jewel specifically because they wanted to shake things up and create unpredictability, even though my reign was the most profitable and most successful in modern WWE history." The claim that Roman has documented proof of WWE deliberately undermining him takes this from bitter complaining to potentially legitimate scandal. If Roman actually releases these communications, it could expose internal WWE politics in ways the company has never dealt with publicly before. The legal and PR ramifications would be massive. Roman addressed the betrayals he suffered recently: Paul Heyman leaving, Solo Sikoa turning on him, the Usos' complicated relationship with him, and all these betrayals. You think they just happened? You think it's coincidence that everyone around me turned on me at the exact same time? Wake up. This was coordinated. WWE Creative wrote these betrayals to isolate me, to strip away my support system, to make me vulnerable so that my loss would seem inevitable and earned when really it was manufactured. Quick question: how many members has the Bloodline had over its entire history? Test your Bloodline knowledge. The conspiracy theory Roman was presenting was elaborate but also made a disturbing amount of sense when you looked at the timeline. The Paul Heyman betrayal. The Solo Sikoa turn. Roman's increasing isolation. The booking decisions that made him look weaker than he'd been in years. All of it happening in a compressed timeframe leading up to Crown Jewel. Roman was arguing that it wasn't organic storytelling but corporate manipulation designed to achieve a predetermined outcome. Roman then dropped what might be his most explosive revelation: there's a reason why certain wrestlers get pushed no matter how much the fans reject them. There's a reason why talented performers get stuck in catering while less talented wrestlers who fit the look management wants get title shots. It's because there's a list. An actual list of wrestlers that management has decided are the chosen ones who will be pushed regardless of merit, talent, or fan reaction. And when you're not on that list, your accomplishments don't matter. Your popularity doesn't matter. You're expendable. The suggestion that WWE has a predetermined list of wrestlers they'll push regardless of performance or fan support has been rumored for years, but hearing a top star like Roman confirm it as fact is unprecedented. If true, it validates every complaint fans have had about WWE's booking philosophy and exposes the company as caring more about their own preferences than about what audiences want. Tell me in the comments, do you believe WWE has a chosen ones list that determines who gets pushed regardless of merit? Does Roman's claim ring true to you based on what we've seen? Roman addressed his future with shocking ambiguity. As for what's next for me, I don't know. I've given WWE everything. My body, my time, my family's reputation. I've made this company millions of dollars. I've been the most reliable, most professional, most dedicated champion they've had in decades. And how do they repay me? By conspiring to end my reign, by undermining my character, by isolating me from my support system. So maybe what's next is me taking my talents somewhere they'll be appreciated. The implication that Roman might leave WWE sent the wrestling world into absolute chaos. Roman Reigns, arguably WWE's biggest star, openly suggesting he might go elsewhere? The financial and creative implications for WWE would be catastrophic. And for AEW or any other company, signing Roman would be the biggest acquisition in wrestling history. Roman got even more specific about his grievances. They wouldn't let me work with the wrestlers I wanted to work with. They rejected my ideas for matches and storylines. They forced me into programs I didn't believe in. They micromanaged every word I said in promos. And when I complained, when I tried to have creative input like they promised me I would when I signed my contract, I was told to stay in my lane and trust the process. Well, I trusted the process, and the process was designed to screw me. The level of control Roman was describing WWE exercising over him sounds suffocating and counterproductive. If Roman is telling the truth, WWE was essentially handcuffing their top champion and preventing him from contributing creatively to his own character, which would explain why his title reign felt less compelling toward the end than it did at the beginning. What's your prediction? Will Roman Reigns stay with WWE and work through these issues, or will he leave for AEW or another promotion? Drop your call. Roman then addressed the fans directly in a moment that felt genuinely emotional. To everyone who supported me, who acknowledged me, who invested in my story, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that WWE didn't let me give you the ending to my reign that you deserved. I'm sorry that my loss happened not because I was legitimately beaten but because I was sabotaged from within. You deserved better. And I promise you, whether it's in WWE or somewhere else, I will finish my story the right way. The connection to Cody Rhodes' finish the story narrative was deliberate and loaded with meaning. Roman was suggesting that his story hasn't been properly finished because WWE interfered, and he's determined to get closure for himself and his fans regardless of what company that happens in. Roman even addressed specific wrestlers in ways that suggested deep resentment. There are guys in that locker room who've been given everything: main event spots, championship opportunities, premium live event matches, and they can't draw a dime. They can't get a reaction. They can't sell merchandise. But they keep getting pushed because management likes them. Meanwhile, wrestlers who are over with the fans, who sell tickets, who make money, they get held back because they're not the right fit for what management envisions. Here's a controversial question: can you think of specific WWE wrestlers who you believe are being pushed despite not deserving it? Who comes to mind? Be honest in the comments. The interview took another wild turn when Roman was asked about Paul Heyman specifically. Paul is brilliant. Paul is one of the smartest minds in wrestling history. But Paul is also a survivor. Paul saw which way the wind was blowing in WWE management. He knew they were planning to take the title off me. So he jumped ship before my stock crashed so he could attach himself to whoever management is positioning as the new golden boy. I don't blame Paul for that, I blame the system that rewards that kind of behavior. Roman's understanding of Paul's betrayal as business rather than personal showed maturity but also cynicism about the wrestling business that was sad to hear. The man who presented himself as tribal chief, as a leader who commanded loyalty, was revealing that he understands loyalty is just another commodity to be bought and sold. Roman got even more specific about creative decisions. They had me lose matches I should have won to make other guys look strong. They had me cut promos that didn't fit my character because some writer wanted to use their dialogue. They vetoed my ideas about how the bloodline should develop. Every creative decision that worked was despite management, not because of them. And every decision that didn't work was management forcing their vision onto my character. The frustration in Roman's voice when discussing creative control was palpable. This is clearly the source of enormous resentment: being the top champion, the face of the company, and still not having control over your own character and story. That would drive anyone crazy. especially someone as proud and accomplished as Roman. Tell me your take. Should top WWE stars have more creative control over their characters, or should creative teams have final say? What's the right balance? Roman addressed his family legacy in emotional terms. The Anoa'i family has given WWE generations of talent. My grandfather, my father, The Rock, Rikishi, Yokozuna, the Usos, this family has been foundational to WWE's success for decades. And this is how WWE treats me? By systematically tearing down everything I built? By conspiring to end my reign in the most humiliating way possible? That's disrespect not just to me but to my entire family's legacy. The invocation of family legacy added weight to Roman's grievances. He wasn't just speaking for himself but for generations of wrestlers who've given everything to WWE. The suggestion that WWE disrespected that legacy by how they handled his title loss gives Roman moral high ground in this conflict. Roman even hinted at knowing more secrets that he hasn't revealed yet. Everything I've told you today? That's just the surface. There are things I know about how WWE operates, about decisions that are made, about why certain things happen. If I revealed everything, heads would roll. People would lose their jobs. Reputations would be destroyed. So WWE better hope I stay quiet, because if I decide to really expose everything, this company would never be the same. The threat of revealing even more damaging information gives Roman leverage in any negotiations with WWE about his future. WWE has to consider what Roman might say if they try to bury him or diminish his legacy. The mutual assured destruction dynamic makes any potential WWE response to this interview incredibly delicate. One final question before we wrap: if Roman Reigns does leave WWE, which promotion would benefit most from signing him? AEW, NJPW, or a startup promotion built around him? Give me your take. The implications of this interview are staggering. If Roman is telling the truth and can prove even half of what he's claiming, WWE faces a PR nightmare and potential legal issues if his contract was violated. If Roman is exaggerating or lying, he's destroying his own reputation and burning bridges with the company that made him a star. Either way, wrestling will never be the same after these revelations. Now I want to hear from you, the Wrestling Newsletter family. Tell me in the comments. Do you believe Roman's claims about WWE conspiring against him? Should Roman leave WWE or stay and fight to reclaim his position? Is Triple H really working against Roman as claimed? Will Roman actually release the evidence he says he has? What promotion should Roman join if he leaves WWE? Is this the most explosive wrestler interview ever? Smash that like button if you believe Roman Reigns is telling the truth about WWE's conspiracy. Destroy that like button if you think Roman needs to accept his loss and move on. We need maximum engagement. Subscribe to Wrestling Newsletter because we're covering every development in this explosive situation and Roman's future. Share this video with every wrestling fan because Roman Reigns exposing WWE secrets after his crown jewel loss is the most shocking interview in wrestling history. The tribal chief has spoken. WWE's secrets are being exposed. Management is in crisis mode, and Roman Reigns' future hangs in the balance. This is the kind of real-world drama that makes wrestling compelling beyond just what happens in the ring. The fallout from these revelations will shape WWE for years to come, and we're covering every explosive moment.